Hi, my name's Jason Trask, and I wrote this book, The New Plantation, Lessons from Rikers Island. I look like Donald Trump holding up the Bible. Not that this is the Bible. Anyway, so yeah, the thing came out, and I didn't get as many readings done as I would have liked to. This thing called COVID-19 struck, and yeah, so anyway, I've decided I'm going to do some readings on YouTube, short readings, very short. And, there's a lot of ego involved in this. But I do actually think that it's a good book for people to read if they, especially white people. White people, if you think you have no trace of racism in you, I think this would be a good place for you to start. At any rate, yeah. So this is the preface. For 3 years, I taught English to young men on Rikers Island, in a school run by the New York City Department of Education, in a jail run by the New York City Department of Correction. The marriage between those two agencies did not work out. By the time I arrived on the island, it was as if a divorce had taken place, and through a prenup agreement, the Department of Correction was awarded custody of the classrooms and students. The Department of Education was awarded nothing but the books, paper, and pencils. While this arrangement made teaching difficult, it was the least of our students' worries. Most of them were brilliant. This makes sense when you consider that many of them reared themselves in the manner of Huckleberry Finn. Like Huck, they lived by their wits and spoke from their souls. Their honesty was stunning, which is not to say they never lied and never stole. On the other hand, we all know people who never lie and never steal, yet are full of deceit. Certainly Huck did his fair share of lying and stealing, but as was true of my students, it would be difficult to find someone as honest. Now, I don't mean that I would hold them up as models for all of humanity. Among other things, many of them had a history of violence. But that doesn't mean they lacked conscience, which seems to be the assumption behind a good deal of the so-called professional literature on the subject of incarcerated juveniles. They may have done things most of us would never do, but look at the world from their perspective, and their choices make a kind of moral sense. The way they see it, they've been kept from getting the things most other people take for granted, the things I take for granted. Not only material possessions, but such luxuries as an education and a future. They see themselves as living under the occupation of a hostile army, aka the police. For them, this is an army that kills kids who look like they do. To varying degrees, we all know they have a point. I certainly knew it even before stepping foot onto Rikers. The thing is, I knew it only with my head. Rikers hammered that knowledge into my heart. And sure, I was aware that white privilege exists. I just wasn't aware of the degree to which it exists for me. By the time I left the island, there was no way to deny any of this, nor to deny that America's reliance on incarceration is racist. Of the 200 plus students who came through my classroom, only 5 were non-Hispanic whites. What's worse is my experience fit the trend. In America today, 1 black man in 3 will be incarcerated at some point during his life. 1 Hispanic man in 6 will be incarcerated, yet only 1 white man in 17 will have that experience. My students on Rikers grew up knowing instinctively the reality behind those statistics. Inequality was to be their lot. How is it in their interest to become model citizens when their dreams have been deferred for 4 centuries? I set out to write a memoir about my experiences as a teacher in an alternative setting. Quickly, I realized how impossible that would be without addressing the prevalence of racism in our so-called system of justice. Our best hope is that the system is broken. If it's not, what we have is intentional. Thank you.